Hi, my name is Dimitro De La Rosa. I'm an undergrad student at UTEP, and I'm going to be talking to you about why student athletes should be paid and why we should advocate for them to be able to receive some kind of financial aid for all the hard work that they do and all the things that they endure. My issue is the student pay, and that all these students have no time because they're too busy trying to perfect their craft of a sport that they can't go out and find a job and earn some extra revenue for them while they're in college. While the opposing viewpoint of my topic will be that the schools and NCAA don't want them to get paid, as it would mean less money for the NCAA and the colleges, and it can also affect scholarships to a certain degree that they have set aside for sports to lure college students in. And it probably wouldn't be as well for smaller schools, as the smaller schools would be less competitive because they don't have the money that the same big schools have. I'm an advocate for college athletes to be paid, as it would lead money to go within the economy and it would help everybody up when they pay taxes, and this would also open students up to opportunities as they can invest and earn more money. Or even the college athletes that are just student athletes that they can't get a job, well, now they have a chance to have some extra money to be able to get some things that they may like, or to just be able to spend it. And the statistic from skateholder.com also shows that the NCAA earns about $10.2 billion in all the sports that it does show and that it sponsors and everything, while the NFL and the NBA make about $8 billion to about $4 billion for the NBA, which is a huge difference from college sports, which they also have to include the player salaries that they do in NBA and the NFL. But in the NCAA, there's no player salaries. So this is all just for the NCAA to earn, as no money is going to the players. Some money goes to the coaches, but that's mostly paid by the schools to keep the coaches to influence new talent to come in. In another article, should student athletes be paid, the pros and cons, it also states that higher tiered schools would make significantly more than lower tiered schools, so that we should have a cutoff to the limit that is able to be spent on the players, so they can only earn a certain amount no matter what school they're at, so that way each school has a fair chance of getting a player that they really like, instead of just making the smaller schools just not as competitive in sports because of the pay to play rule. So there should be a cutoff of the player balances that they can earn, and that there shouldn't be a big gap in between the prices that they can earn from a high tier school and a low tier school, just so it wouldn't really influence any moving from schools or going to a high tier school to get a better chance at scholarship, likeliness, their image, stuff like that. And also stated in another article for how the economy would be worse off for student athletes is by the University of Kentucky education policy professor John R. Thielen, which has argued that if college athletes were to be paid, they would be worse off because they would lose the ability to obtain a scholarship which is tax exempt, rather than being paid, which is able to be taxed and can remove some of the money from the students, and they wouldn't have a free right to college. But the money that they do earn would also be able to pay for college. So there really isn't a trade-off, as they would already be paying for college to be going to that college. So they would take that money. And another quote from the NCAA president, Mark Embert, argues that one of the biggest reasons fans like college sport is that the college athletes, they believe that the athletes are really students who play for the love of the sport, and to convert college sports into professional sports would lead to a product that is not successful for either fan support or the fan experience. Now this tells all of us that he mentions that the fans are into it because that they believe that the student athletes are really playing just to play for the love of the sport. Well, yes, this is true that they do love the sport, that the fans giving in all this revenue from seats, tickets to the games, from beverages to the jersey numbers that these players wear. They all have their favorite players within that college level of sports, which also leads to their likeliness and image, which are not from the school playing these certain sports. It's from the student athletes that are playing within this school or this system. They're going to watch these certain athletes, not necessarily the school. They want to see how these athletes excel, and if they would make the professional tier that they are in, instead of just being some other random college athlete that nobody's ever heard of. I'd like you guys to advocate for change, as they did in California, California State recently passed a law that will take effect on January 1st, 2023, which will allow student athletes to be paid for their likeliness and image. I would like you guys to have peaceful protest and advocate to certain schools and states to make this change, as it can really benefit us within the economy, and that also it would help out the student athletes who put all this time and effort into their craft, into their sport, for them to be able to buy a car. Some of them don't have cars, to buy cars, to buy food, to get an apartment instead of housing at the school. Anything to help them while we love to watch them play the sports. Well, I hope I influenced your view on the topic and how we can make a change for it, and how we all have a voice, and how we all should stand up. On my option C, I think this made me a greater writer, because I was able to really look for facts and be able to write a script for this, and be able to just improve and be able to be more comprehensible of the knowledge I was reading and things I was putting down onto paper. And I believe that will be it for my presentation. If you guys have any questions or anything that you guys still need an answer to, just go ahead and put it in the comments and let me know. All right, have a great day.